Nigga, this is what that jungle do. You been plotting, nigga, wasn't you? I should've never even fuck with you. Yeah, I started in the back, had to skip the line, no.
Would you eat your favourite takeaway if it was made in a laboratory? The thought of 3D printed nuggets might not sound appetising, but scientists say you won't be able to taste the difference.
There's only one Kentucky Fried Chicken, always cooked fresh, with Colonel Sanders' original secret recipe of 11 different herbs and spices.
Until now. For in this Russian lab, your next tasty KFC meal is being prepared. Just finishing off some seafood for another customer first. This one is a squid. Yes, KFC has partnered with Russian scientists to develop lab-made chicken nuggets.
Shut up and take my money.
Hot on the heels of fake meat, now comes a plethora of pantry palatables.
Spinach, broccoli, chicken, salmon, kind of just runs the gamut. We were experimenting with a lot of new ingredients as well.
Welcome to the future.
Your printable food comes safely packaged in cartridges.
Finger licking good.
I face a laboratory and a kitchen, as long as it's clean.
Wouldn't put you off?
Simply take some cells from a real chicken, multiply them in the lab into a paste, and gently place that into a printer, similar to the one in your home office. Turn that paste into sheets, and layer upon layer, turn those sheets into cubes. Presto! You've got chicken nuggets.
You're hungry, but instead of whipping up a meal, all you have to do is enter your menu choices into a computer and your dinner appears before you. So magical. It may seem like science fiction, but it isn't. Well, not completely. The future is now, my friends. Is 3D printed food in your future?
Machine prints delicious meat with fat, blood, and everything, all made of plants. Meet Eshkar. He is a real meat lover, and so is his entire family. One day, he realized that the meat he loves is ruining our planet. So he decided to create new meat. He put together a team of engineers, chefs, and scientists, and together they spent years making this machine that can reproduce meat from vegetables. It works like a printer, but with veggie food cartridges instead of ink. So it can copy the real texture of meat and print it. When he served the meat in a restaurant, no one could tell the difference. Soon, this meat will be everywhere around you, in every restaurant and every supermarket. And we can eat it without ruining our planet.
Barbecued steak, yeah, medium rare.
I hope it's the way you like it.
Hey, you call this a steak?
Very serious global problems, but at the same time, most people are unwilling to eliminate meat from their diet. This is totally understandable though. Humans evolved to rely heavily on meat, and historically eating meat was the only way for humans to access many essential nutrients for our health. We are omnivores after all. But what if I told you that we can keep eating meat, but solve all these problems? And that the technology for doing just that is on its way into the commercial market very soon. Too good to be true? Maybe, but crazier things have happened. Let's take a look at the developments from 2020. Redefine Meat, a company out of Israel, was begun in 2019 and finalized their 3D printing meat alternative in 2020, with expectations to begin commercial sales in 2021. This new meat option may appear in stores and restaurants sooner than you'd think.
But making food this way is still in its early stages. It might seem like a new process, but the origin of 3D printing goes back to the early 1980s. In 1983, researchers produced the first item using a 3D printer. What was that groundbreaking new product? An eye wash cup. Today, the process is used to create toys, prosthetics, and automotive parts. You can even have one at home. But how did this technology move into the kitchen? In 2006, NASA began researching 3D printed food as it wanted to create pizzas for astronauts. NASA wasn't the only one interested in printing food. In 2007, researchers at Columbia University's Creative Machines Lab produced the Fab at Home personal fabrication system, which could create edible objects using cake frosting, chocolate, processed cheese, and peanut butter.
Pork dumpling, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to cut this one in half.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the same texture.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue.
It's 3D technology, printed using great ingredients to give you a really good eat.
So this is all printed from a machine?
Yes.
And it takes how long?
They're taking about an hour to do the slabs, but you know, as we scale up and we move into Holland, we will be mass producing these steaks.
This is the moment of truth.
This is the moment.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. I'm going to try this one, which I think is the bigger challenge for a chef, right?
That's the steak version. So that's barbecued.
It feels like a sort of, almost like a brisket, actually, the way it divides, right?
So I personally feel it's the closest to a brisket or a short rib where it's slowly cooked and the texture of the meat.
So it's a little bit crumbly.
Yeah, it pulls.
It's a perfect receptacle for other stuff that you can put around that meat. But as an entity of in itself, it doesn't have that joyous, deep sort of soul-giving pleasure that meat does.
Is that just because you're used to it, though? I mean, the potential is extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it remains to be seen, to be honest. I mean, you know, the lovely chef that I met there today, I said, you know, where have you been working? She said 10 years. I went, where? She said, Unilever. I mean, what's she been doing? Cooking shampoo? You know, these are not people who come from a heritage of the culinary arts. You know, meat is something that is incredibly important for people who actually really love their food.
Tenderness, and fatty marbled texture. Wagyu, or simply Japanese cow, only comes from Japan, where the farmers take great care of their cattle, ensuring a stress-free daily routine consisting of regular meals and sometimes even massages. There's only one problem. The livestock industry is one of the most resource-intensive in the world, contributing to massive land and water degradation, also an estimated 18% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And unfortunately, cattle are the worst offenders in the mix, having the added disadvantage of a high methane output. This then begs the question, is it possible to replicate the end product, but with a more efficient means of production? Now just imagine for a moment, what if this intense process was taken over by a 3D printer in a lab?
One pan-fried catfish. Smells like the real thing.